Magazine Dreams, directed by Elijah Bynum, is a powerful and painful look at one man's struggle. It follows Killian, a bodybuilder who wants to be famous. But behind his muscles is a broken person. As the story goes on, we see him slowly fall deeper into loneliness, anger, and confusion. The film opens with a close-up of Killian's chiseled physique, highlighting his dedication to bodybuilding. He lives with his ailing grandfather, William, in a modest home. Killian's life revolves around intense workouts, a strict 6,000-calorie diet, and writing fan letters to his idol, Brad Vanderhorn, a renowned bodybuilder. Despite his physical prowess, Killian is socially awkward and struggles with anger issues, leading to court-mandated therapy sessions. Killian is obsessed with becoming someone great, someone admired. But that obsession cuts him off from real human connection. He focuses on building a perfect body because it gives him a sense of purpose, even though it's slowly breaking him down emotionally. The letters to Brad show us that Killian wants to be seen, not just for his muscles, but for his struggle. He sees Brad as someone who made it, someone who's living the life he wants. But because Brad never replies, it makes Killian feel invisible and unworthy, feeding his sadness and anger. While shopping at the grocery store where he works, Killian awkwardly asks out his colleague, Jesse. They go on a date to his favorite steakhouse, but the evening turns sour when Killian dominates the conversation with intense monologues about his bodybuilding aspirations and past traumas. Jesse becomes uncomfortable and leaves, highlighting Killian's inability to form genuine connections. This scene shows that Killian wants love and connection, but he doesn't know how to create it. He's so used to living in his own world of routines and goals that he doesn't understand how to truly be with another person. He talks, but he doesn't listen. He shares, but he doesn't connect. Killian doesn't know how to be vulnerable. He knows how to perform and how to present himself like a strong, serious man with big goals. But real connections requires listening, understanding, and sharing. And that's why, even in his attempt to connect, he ends up pushing Jesse away. Killian gets very angry when a local paint store says they won't repaint his grandfather's house, claiming the job was already good enough. He vandalizes the store, smashing windows and ruining things inside. This act of violence shows his volatile temperament and inability to manage rejection. This scene reveals how deeply wounded Killian really is. He doesn't know how to deal with rejection in a healthy way. Every no feels like someone is telling him he's not good enough. His emotions take over, and violence becomes his only way to respond. The paint is symbolic. Killian is trying to make his grandfather's house look better, cleaner, and newer. But it's also about more than that. He's trying to fix something deeper, maybe his childhood, maybe his broken family, or maybe even himself. When the store refuses, that hope, that illusion of being able to fix things gets taken away. After the violent paint store incident, Killian is attacked. The store owner's nephew and his friends beat him badly. His body, his greatest weapon, his only pride, is left bruised and broken. But instead of resting or healing, Killian pushes forward. He decides to still compete in the bodybuilding show he had been preparing for. This isn't about winning anymore. It's about proving something to the judges, to Brad Vanderhorn, and to himself. He steps onto the stage, shirtless and trembling. As the music plays and the lights shine on his battered body, he begins his routine. He flexes and poses like he's done 1,000 times before. His body ultimately gives out, and he collapses in front of everyone. This scene draws a clear line between outer strength and inner strength. Killian has trained his body to the extreme, but emotionally, he's falling apart. The collapse shows that muscles alone can't carry the weight of a broken mind. Killian's routine, his strict meals, workouts, and posing, was always a way to stay in control. This moment proves that no matter how strong you look, you can't run from emotional wounds forever. After the collapse at the competition, Killian's world starts to fall apart even more. He loses his job, one of the few places where he had routine and structure. He's now even more lost and alone. Trying to fill the emptiness, he hires a sex worker known only as Pink Coat. She's kind and patient, but even in this private space, Killian can't bring himself to connect. He stands there, frozen and tense, unable to act. He doesn't want sex. What he really wants is something deeper, to be seen, to be held, to feel loved. But he doesn't know how to ask for it. Even therapy, his only lifeline to human understanding, starts to break down. His therapist gently tries to get through to him. She sees his pain and wants to help, but Killian refuses to open up. The sex worker represents the idea that love can be bought. But Killian's breakdown in that moment shows it doesn't work. These scenes are important because they show how hard it is for men like Killian to ask for help. After years of writing letters and dreaming about meeting his hero, Killian finally gets what he thought he always wanted: a call from Brad Vanderhorn, the famous bodybuilder he's idolized for so long. For Killian, this feels like proof that all his hard work, pain, and discipline have finally been noticed. When they meet, Killian is nervous, but also deeply excited. This is the man he's built his identity around, the one person he believes understands him. Brad is friendly at first. They talk, they pose, and eventually, they sleep together. But afterwards, everything changes. Brad stops responding. That one moment of closeness, what Killian thought was special, turns out to be meaningless for Brad. For Killian, this feels like the destruction of everything he believed in. This moment hits hard because Killian trusted Brad with his deepest hopes. But Brad, like many people Killian has looked up to, disappoints him. The theme here is abandonment. Killian constantly reaches out for love and validation, only to be left behind. Brad also represents a false idol, someone Killian thought was perfect, but is actually selfish and shallow. Killian becomes obsessed with something a bodybuilding judge once said about him, specifically a comment about his shoulder muscles not being good enough. Unable to let it go, Killian tracks the judge down, breaks into his house, and holds him at gunpoint. What follows is one of the most disturbing scenes in the film. Killian forces the man to strip and pose like a bodybuilder, just like the way Killian does. It's his way of flipping the power, of finally being the one in control. But what he really wants isn't revenge. He wants validation. He wants the judge to admit he was wrong, to say Killian is good enough. It's a desperate cry for recognition from a man who's been ignored and rejected too many times. His sense of self is so tied to how others see him that even small criticism feels like rejection. It also shows his growing delusion. He's no longer just chasing a dream. He's trying to force it to come true by any means necessary. This scene shows how badly things can spiral when someone's identity is built entirely on being perfect. Killian goes to a live event where Brad Vanderhorn is posing on stage. As he watches from the crowd, we slip into Killian's mind, where he pulls out a gun and imagines shooting Brad. The film presents a disorienting montage blending reality and hallucination, culminating in Killian leaving without committing violence. This sequence reflects his internal struggle between destructive impulses and a desire for control. This scene shows the emotional war inside Killian. On one hand, he hates Brad for using him and leaving him behind. On the other hand, he still loves the idea of Brad. He's the dream, the goal, the person Killian once admired. This mix of feelings is confusing, overwhelming, and dangerous. The gun represents power. In Killian's mind, it gives him control over the person who made him feel small. But in the end, it's not the weapon that shows strength, it's him walking away. Letting go of violence, even when he's full of pain, is the first sign of true growth. Killian returns home, beaten emotionally and physically. He's not the strong, silent bodybuilder anymore. He's just a lost young man, tired, heartbroken, and confused. He collapses into his grandfather's arms crying. It's one of the only real emotional moments we see from him. Afterward, Killian throws away his gun, a symbol of his rage and desire for control, and his steroids, which have damaged his body and mind. But then he walks into his garage, turns on the spotlight, and starts posing again. His face is blank, his body is tired, but in his eyes, there's still a flicker of hope. He's still dreaming of being a champion. Killian is trapped in a loop. He wants to heal, but he doesn't know how to live without the dream. His obsession has become part of who he is. Even after everything, loss, shame, rejection, he returns to what he knows best: the pose, the spotlight, and the performance. The garage is a powerful symbol. It's where he builds his body, trains every day, and imagines greatness. But it's also a place where he hides from the world, from emotions, and from failure. In that small, dimly lit space, his dream survives, but so does his pain. This ending doesn't offer a happy resolution. Killian hasn't won. He's stuck between letting go and holding on. There's sadness in that, but also something human. He's still here, still trying, and still dreaming. Magazine Dreams is a poignant exploration of ambition, mental health, and the human need for connection. Jonathan Majors delivers a powerful performance, embodying the complexities of a man driven to the edge by his dreams and demons. The film's unflinching portrayal of Killian's journey offers a sobering reflection on the costs of obsession and isolation. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.